is in Israel one of the biggest Rosh Yeshivas, one of the yeshivas. This is his story. I mean, it's beyond. His father was an absolute assimilated Jew in Germany. And you know something? He was completely fascinated with the food. He said, unbelievable. A great person. So he wrote a book. He was a history professor at Berlin, the university. So you hear? So he dedicated a new book, History of the German Race, to Yimach Shema, to the Führer. Listen to this. The Führer, Brother Führer, oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Brother Yimach Shema, Brother Haman heard that a Jew had the chutzpah dedicate a book to him. The next day was arrested and sent to concentration camp. The boy is 11 years old. His whole life his father said he is ashamed being a Jew. And here the Germans come and take away his father. Mamish didn't know what to do with himself. He was never in a synagogue because his father never went to synagogue. And the greatest miracle in the world was that my uncle, my mother's brother, was like one of the greatest rabbis, had a shul next door where this boy lived, in Berlin. Nebuch, he walked the streets, and Nebuch, late at night, nowhere to go now. He went to my uncle's shul. And Uncle Mamish came in. And it was clear to my uncle that if the Führer sent his father to concentration camp in a few days and picking up his mother, right? Who knows what they would go to the boy? You know what my uncle did? Picked up the boy, gave him a ticket, sent him to the yeshiva. Called him Rabbi Yerucham. And it so happened this great Rosh Yeshiva in Mir was one of the greatest. So happened that his son married my sister, but this was long before when his son was maybe a little boy. Right? My brother-in-law. And he is now one of the biggest Rosh Yeshivas in the world. Right? Can you imagine the person stooping so low, adoring the Führer? You know what I found out lately? It's not to be believed. The president in the big temple in New York, his son is teaching history, Columbia, and wrote a book about the strategy of the Führer, the Germans. And when the book came out, in the temple they had a big feast to celebrate his book. I mean, how low can you get? And you know, when I see that this happening today, it happened in Shushan. But in Shushan, the only Jew who didn't go was Mordechai. You know what an assimilated Jew is? Let's face it. Deep down, assimilated Jew says, we Jews, we just tolerate it. The world belongs to the Goy. I have no right to walk with a yarmulke on the street. Purim is heavy stuff, you know. I understand why an assimilated Jew doesn't show up in Purim. But when he does, it's just to eat Hamantash. That is heavy. The question is, where do you feel at home? Where do you feel most close to? Is it to the Holy Land? Is it to Islam? Or you feel close to Washington? I don't know if you remember a few years ago, you know, I don't want to say anything, I would never mention his name. President Castings. He's one of the biggest anti-Semites in the world, ever. I said to somebody, the Germans, in the time of the Germans, there were big signs all over Germany, Juden nach Palästina. That means the Germans admit that Israel belongs to the Jews. They say Jews go back to Palestine, right? Today, they go one step further. Israel also doesn't belong to us, right? Believe it. You know what it is? Obviously, God wants to give us the Holy Land in such an unbelievable way. You know what Rav Kook says? What Kook says is deepest text. Redemption will come to Israel, and we will stop our tongue hanging out before the non-Jewish world. As long as Israel thinks we need the world to give us permission to be in Israel, so we're hanging on to them, we're hanging on to Haman, they hang on to Achashverosh, we go to his feast, right? Slowly, Baruch Hashem, we're getting out of it. Not really yet. How many Jews in America think, it's really? They're 100% right, What's so big about Yerushalayim? What's so big about the Holy Land? Rockefeller Center is worth more on the real estate level, right? Not to be believed. And you know what the most heartbreaking thing in the world is? They call themselves Jewish leaders. Yeah, the chutzpah, they call themselves Jewish leaders. They don't have 1 ounce of Jew. We're not talking about being religious. Just be a Jew, right? Be a Jew. So you hear, my beautiful friends, on Purim, the deepest question in the world is ADAR Mamamish, ADAR. I want you to know something. Always in ADAR we're reading the building of the tabernacle. Because the whole of ADAR is that we are building the Holy Temple. You know which Holy Temple we are building? We are building the Holy Temple above. Then comes Pesach. We are beginning also to build the Holy Temple below. Getting out of Egypt, we're going to Israel. It always takes time, doesn't matter. In this world. Purim is not from this world. And I want you to know the deepest depths. Purim basically is like throwing a lot. Why is Purim called Purim on Shema Purim? Should be called because we got out of Persia or we killed Haman or something. The Haman says. You know what a lot is? The lot has nothing to do with your head. You can't plan it. You don't understand it. This mama from heaven. This is from heaven. It's from Allah. You know what that means? I'm not a Jew because I understand it. And I'm not connected to Judaism because I think it's a beautiful religion. When someone says to me, I'm a Jew because this religion appeals to me, I think it's beautiful. In fact, I think it's highly ethical religion. Would give an onion for this Jew. Again, I might love him and I have compassion, I might love him, but on the Purim level, right? Kabbalah, they need fixing, right? You see what it is? You know what the Holy Temple is? The Holy Temple is how much do you feel at home with God? How much do you want God to live in your house? When I like a girl very much, but I really, after 2 hours I'm bored stiff, I'm not telling her I would like to live with you. I'm bored stiff after 45 minutes, right? So I need her for hanging around all the time, right? When you love somebody, you mamish feel at home with them. You want to be with them in the same house, right? I want you to know the deepest, absolute deepest. On until Avraham Avinu entered the covenant with God, he also invited poor people to his house, but he treated them like strangers. Yeah, you're poor. I'll give you some feast, you can stay overnight, then you leave. What was the first thing after he entered the covenant with God? He sees 3 pagans, makes a big feast, right? You know who makes me a big feast? When I come home. I'm invited, someone says you can eat. I invite you, can eat, it's me something to eat. You know how I treated the 3 pagans? Mama should feel at home with you. Because what's the first sign of making a covenant with God? You Mama should feel at home with every human being. But then Mama should gewalt, do I feel at home with the Torah? Gewalt, do I feel at home with Yerushalayim HaKodesh? And the deepest question in the world is, how much do you feel at home with your own children? And even deeper and deeper and deeper, how much do your children feel at home with you? You know, this is the deepest, absolutely deepest, most awesome, most heartbreaking blessing we can give to each other. We should much feel at home in Yeshua. We should feel at home in Yerushalayim. Feel at home with our children, with our family. Feel at home with Shabbos, not a guest. Yes, I can invite a Catholic to come to my house Friday night and like it. A Jew needs more than that. I want you to know something. When someone lives in my house, I give them a banana, right? You know what I'm telling you? Said you're not face to face. You know how much I'm connected to you? You live 10 miles away. I want you to know wherever I am, you are too. Give you a banana to eat. Give you a piece of cake. I'm sure Shlomo is telling you all the time, you gotta give shlachmanas to your children. And just make sure your children send you back. And here just is a very dangerous template. I want to tell you a story which I think I told some of you 1,000 times, but maybe just one more time. I'm telling you this all the time. I also want to bless Shlomo and Judy. Your children should always feel at home with you. You should feel at home with your children. For all of us. You know when I buy the New York Times on Sunday? Sweet. Because I feel like a stranger in the New York Times. Right? You know when I feel at home? Pick up a Gemara, Mishalayach, Siddur. I feel at home. I like New York very much. It's like my house, my home. Yerushalayim HaKodesh. And you see what it is on Purim. On Purim, when we felt at home with God again. You know what happened? Thousands of non-Jews became Jewish. I want you to know what's happening in the world. And now it's like dawn again. It's like Purim. When you pin down all the great people in the world, the holy people, the spiritual people. Do you really feel at home is what you're doing? Come in here, 15 chairs waiting for you. Okay, just 2. I know you're humble. What was I telling you?
You were going to say the story.
This is a very deep story. Remember, we were learning it a lot of times. How do I know if I'm coming home to my own home or if I'm coming home to somebody else's house? Very simple. I'm dirty and filthy and smell and what. And knock on someone's door 4 o'clock in the morning. First of all, now in the middle of the night you're knocking on my door? And can't you take a shower before you come? Not my house. My own house. You know what they tell me? Oh, they were so worried about me. I'm so glad you came back. I said to the Haman Yerushalayim one time, if you're coming back to Yiddishkeit, and everybody says to you, oh, you did so much wrong, you have to make excuses. But before you were in India, before that you were, who knows, in Honolulu, you have to make 10,000 excuses. Then obviously you didn't come home. You know, Yom Kippur, I'm making excuses to God. I said, I'm sorry, last year I ate a hamburger on Yom Kippur, forgive me. Because Yom Kippur is not the highest. I'm not completely at home with God yet. I have to make excuses. In Purim, I walk into Purim, I don't make any excuses. I don't even say anything. Mama, I'm just intoxicated that I'm a Jew. You are my intoxicated, you are my beyond. And you know, friends, on Yom Kippur, I asked all my friends for forgiveness if I hurt your feelings. On Purim, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm giving you one banana, one cake. Now you are listening. So here's the story. And you know one more very, very important thing. If you're not at home, it takes you a long time till you get there. What's the story? Everything's okay. Just give me 2 more minutes, friend. Okay, 3 more minutes. Okay, friends, open your heart. If I'm walking into a stranger's home, they have to show me here's the bedroom, here's the bathroom, here's the kitchen, here's the kitchen. Then I come back to my own home. We're just there again. Goes through my minutes. But Purim, I'm not learning anything. But the day of learning. God says, come, I'll show you. I've been away for so long. I'll show you. I'm home. Olive down. I'm building the best of English. Okay, here's the story. It's an awesome story. There's a passage in Koheles that says, don't give up your space. Don't ever give up your space. Don't give up your heart. The Heilige Abschütze, hey. Brother, what did I do to deserve this? Sit down fast because I'm in the middle of the story and I might forget it. Well, you don't like this chair, brother? That was the thing. Okay, take off your foot fast. I'm just telling you the long story. The story is that the Heilige Abschütze first was a pupil of the Heilige Melech. And then, when he was 18 years old, when the Melech passed away, he went a little bit to Ramotfeld and Schriese, and then he became the pupil of the C.F. Lublin, and he was like really, Lublin was his thing. So here we're talking about the Schriese. The Obstedt is 18 years old. Comes to the Heilige Schriese. Let him sleep till I finish the story, okay? Judy is accused. You hear, friend? comes to the Heilige Schrize and Purim. The Schrize says to Rob Shitzer, you know what it was called? Naftali says, I'm glad you came. And you're welcome to be here all the time. But there's one thing. 2 days before Pesach, I didn't want you here. You can come back after Pesach, but 2 days before Pesach, you have to disappear. Just remember what he said. And you know, we all are like this. We believe in the rabbis, right? But then we think we're more clever. So the Rob Shitzer wanted to stay for Pesach in the worst way. He wanted to be with the Seder, right? Heading in the Schrize. And I want you to know that the Schrize was famous. In Mamish knew the secret of Mashiach's coming, heading in the Schrize. The Schrize was Mamish. Had the power to revive dead people. Mamish. So I'll tell you a long story. Different kind of a rabbi. Anyway. You know what he did? He was a real big con man. When he was very holy, he was Mamish a con man. So, you know, Pesach in the Schrize, thousands of people come for the Seder. A few days after Pesach, he goes into the kitchen to the rabbis and offers his services. The rabbis is so happy. He is a young chassid who wants to help me in the kitchen. He is day and night in the kitchen helping the rabbis day and night. And suddenly, 2 days before Pesach, he says, rabbis, I have to leave. Just what? Now you're leaving, you're the whole thing here. You're the only one who knows how to do it. I have 2,000 guests for the Seder. I can't do it without you. He says, Rebbe says, I want to stay. It's your husband. The Rebbe tells me to leave. Just wait a minute, you know. She goes into the Rebbe and says, listen, don't do this to me. I cannot have the Seder without this. You know, the Rebbe see what they see. They know what they know, but they never fight. You want him to stay? Stay. Okay, you remember the story, Shlomo? Yeah, a little bit. I told the story 1,000 times, so I remember it. Anyway, Pesach, you know, Pesach, the day before Pesach, the morning you burn the chumets, suddenly the whole world is so clean. Evil is burned out, and the Rob Shitzer sitting in the Besmedrish. I feel so holy and so purified. Suddenly a drunkard walks in, like half drunk, smelling like. And he says to the Rob Shitzer, can I see the Rebbe? He says, now we just cleansed the world from all evil, and you're coming now, and you look like the biggest sinner and drunkard in the world, smelling like a dog. Get out of here. Goes back to learn, didn't even register. A few minutes later, the Heilige Schrize comes running in. He says, was somebody here to see me? He says, no. He says, was a drunkard here to see me? Oh, yeah, he says, let's throw him out. The Heilige Schrize goes up to Rob Shitzer, gives him by his neck. He says, listen to me. If you don't bring him back, you'll never be permitted to be in the same room where I am. The Rob Shitzer running around, you know, he prepares himself for Yont, he forgets all this nonsense, all the geschäften. Gotta find this drunkard. He runs from bar to bar, all the streets, and Neshchit is not such a big city. It's just about an hour for Yont, and he's mamish at the end. He goes one more time in one bar. Then he sees Mamish in the corner, completely desperate at the end. The drunkard is sitting there. He goes up and says, please, I'm begging you, my life depends on it. Please come back to the Rebbe. He says, no, it's too late now. This morning I wanted it. Now I don't want it anymore. The Rob Shitzer, you know, is strong like a lion, especially when his life depends on it. When he's half drunk, he picks him up, throws him over his shoulders, runs for his life, knocks on the Rebbe's door, and he says, Rebbe, I got it. But you know the way the Rebbe receives him? mother. Can't believe his eyes. That night, in the streets, he go to the Seder late. In the meantime, the drunkard had the chance to sleep off his drunkenness, went to the mikveh, had a little bath in it, and they're heading the streets and giving the stein kaputt. And you know where this drunkard is sitting? Next to that. Shining from one corner of the world to the other. Shining. And it's clear to the Rapshit that he is one of the greatest in the world this year. After Pesach, he goes into the heading in the streets and says, Rebbe, please enlighten me. What was going on there? He says, I want you to know that this Yid is my biggest chossid. And his understanding of what God is all about is one of the world. You know, everybody believes in God, but do you really know what God is all about? It takes a little bit more than that, right? It takes more than just eating glad kosher meat and having a yam to know what God is all about. You know something? You can even sit in paradise and not know what God is all about. Or something else, right? He said, I want you to know an understanding what God is all about. He's one of the world. One time he slipped a little bit and did something bad. But since he knew that I have clear eyes, from one corner of the world to the other, he was ashamed to come back. And you know what it is? All his friends are here in the streets. He lost his rabbi, he lost his friends. Slowly, slowly, he lost his family. Slowly, slowly, he became a homeless person, a street drunkard. He said, this year, this is gewaltig. This year in Purim, we give out Shlachmonis, still a gift. God is doing the same thing. He says, I heard a voice in heaven saying, Mordechem and Fegen. Humanly speaking, God is asking, Mordechem and Fegen, what should I give you, Shlachmonis? So I said, Master of the world, give me back my best chossid, please. So I heard a voice in heaven saying, he will come back on Erev Pesach, the morning before Pesach. And I knew already that you're not on the level. I mean, obviously later on you're not on the level yet. You still look at garments. You don't know what's going on inside. So I wanted you to be out of the city. I want you to know that I heard the story from a Yid. And he told me that every Shabbos, Halamoid Sukkot, when the Red Koheles, the Heilige Alexander would tell the story. And he would say to the Chassidim, what was wrong with his chossid? What did he do wrong? What he do wrong is, he forgot the passage. It says, Mekoimcha Altana. Mekoimcha, Mekomcha Altana. Don't give up your space. Don't give up your space. Even if you're the lowest. You know what the highest title of Reb Nachman is? Reb Nachman says, what do you think? He says, what do you think I would do if I would suddenly not keep Shabbos? If I would suddenly eat non-kosher food? If I would do everything the book says I shouldn't do? What do you think I will do? He says, do you think I would stop being a Rebbe? Do you think I would ever stop being the tzaddik of all the tzaddik? He said, do you know I have the key to heaven and earth in my hands? You think I would give up the key? Never. Never. Every day for 5 minutes, I do tshuva, say that's what forgive me. But I will not give up my place. I will not give up my place. So here I want you to know, Purim is on the birth of Beis HaMikdash Aleph Tav. And you know something? Yom Kippur, I ask God for forgiveness. but they didn't find my place back yet. I'm still a stranger. Poor. Carlebach making is a fear. I wish I'm poor. I feel at home again. I'm back. It's my Torah. It's my Yiddishkeit. You're my friend. It's my children. What you know was learning something very, very deep. Imagine I buy a house. So legally it's my house. But for it to be my house takes more than I'm paying for it. My house. You know something? I'll buy every Chinese book in the world. So legally, all those Chinese books are my books. But they're not my books, yeah, they belong to me, so my books. I think now people think when I was a privilege, I'd be in Krakow, the only remaining shul of the Amos shul, I think it's all Shlomo Judy. I saw 2 old Gemaras there. You know what's so special about those 2 Gemaras? First of all, they're 400 years old. The second thing is it says on the front page, from this Gemaras, people learned in the Rosh Hashanah. You know how much I felt at home with this Gemara. I said to the Yidden, I give you any amount of money. There were 2 Gemaras. I bought one for the Shomale and one for the Dale. It's not $1 million. It's infinite, right? Gemara like that. So you tell me it's torn, right? That's how much my Gemara, right? You see what it is on Purim? You know, sometimes this person is my friend. Is it my friend? Am I his friend? Am I her friend? It takes more than just going out on a double date and eating bagels, right? You know what the saddest thing in the world is? A lot of people that get married say, it's my wife. Legally, it's my wife. Is it really my friend? Yeah, I'm her husband. Am I really her husband? Children, are they my children, right? Are they really your children? And you know something? I want you to know the deepest depth. Why is it all year long, in order to show you how much I love you, I'm buying you a condominium in Miami, or on the Persian Gulf, or in Acapulco. You know why? Because this condominium is mine legally, and I'm giving it to you, it becomes yours legally. On Purim, when things belong to me, I give you my banana, my piece of cake. Oh, it's so good. That is the deepest. That is the deepest. I want you to know when they read a book about a stranger, I'd love to know the characters. So it says it was God, it was Mordechai, it was Esther. If I read my story, I know who it is. But you know something very, very deep. Here's this girl, a very beautiful girl, and she gets flowers anonymous. She doesn't know who it's from. Let me tell you something, you know what the problem is? I'm sure she has a lot of boys hanging all over her fingers. But there is not one young man who's probably hers. Because if she gets flowers anonymous and she doesn't know who it is, if you don't have even one person, you have nobody. Don't tell me a story, you have 200 men being in love with you. Who is the anonymous sender? You know, I saw a cartoon. A girl gets a letter from a boy and he says, I proposed to you yesterday, I forgot what you said. She answers back, thank you so much for the letter. I knew somebody proposed, I couldn't remember who it was. I want you to know something. When I read the Torah every Shabbos, it's good learning. It's my Torah, yes it is. If I miss one word, so I don't. My megillah, it's my megillah, it's my story. I want you to know, Reb Nachman says, let it be clear to everyone, that when you read the megillah, it is my story. It's my story. My story is that in my life I have to go through 2,000 Hamans, none of my meal. And it's a miracle always. But the question is, what are you doing with the miracle? Just go through it? Oh, after that you reach the highest level. You know what the saddest thing is? In the last few years, God made so many miracles. Fixed the war in Kippur. We went through it, right? Remember the beginning of Nachman Says. If you want to reach something infinite, it's only after all your vessels are broken. Because there is one thing to break the vessels and fix the vessels, or throw away all the vessels. I don't want vessels anymore. I don't want garments. I want mamish infinite. I want infinite. You know what level we reached when Haman wanted mamish to kill us? Mamish, all the vessels were broken. So we don't have vessels. A little cute little light on there is not what we need. I want an infinite light. Infinite light. Deeper than all the garments. I want you to know something. How do you know how much you love a person? Imagine this person is beautiful, and they always wear red or green or blue. And one day, their face is covered, everything is covered. I don't recognize them because I know them by their garments, right? If I know them from inside, you can cover everything and still know who it is. And Purim, we wear masks, we get dressed up crazy. Because to let you know, I hope you don't know me on the outside. I just hope. Because in Purim, what is shining is the inside of the inside. And here, listen to this. In the Torah we are called Bnei Yisrael, children of Israel. In the megillah we are called Yehudim. The Yehudim are Israel. You know, when someone keeps every word of the Torah, it's Bnei Yisrael. But Purim, we're not looking at your garment. Purim, we're looking at the inside, the inside of you. The inside is a Yisrael. A Yehudim are Israel. So why just on Purim is the headquarters. That's the supermarket. You don't stand in the supermarket all your life buying herring. You take the herring home and you eat it, right? Hopefully. The saddest thing in the world is if you buy, you pay, and then you walk out and leave it there. All the other says the same thing. Well, you know, in a vision. But the Heilige Vision of someone came for Shabbos. After Shabbos, the vision would say, okay, what are you taking with you? You're here for Shabbos, right? Imagine instead of having this police by the Holy Wall, who make sure you have a yarmulke on, or that you have long sleeves, imagine someone would stay there and says, what are you taking with you? Okay, just remember, friends, what I tell you. Dawn. Remember the toil of the dawn. The saddest thing in the world is dawn is breaking. Dawn is breaking. And you are with somebody you don't feel at home with. That is Haman. Can kill him. You know something? That's the deepest. What is closer to me, the house or food? Then you would say food I'm taking inside, out of some outside. Not true. When I eat something which is not good for me, I vomit it out. When I live in a place where I don't belong, it can drive me to suicide. Because my connection to where I live is so hardy. When you hear what I'm saying to you, when you eat, it's for your beloved. Give your body strength to hold out. The house where I live is not only my beloved, my above lives there. Why am I putting on a mezuzah on my door? Why don't I put on a mezuzah on the bagel? You know?
Pretty hard to use.
That's true. You know what Chassidim said? Why is Homer Taschen just 3 corners, not 4? Because he would have to put on sitters, right? Okay. You know why you don't put on a mezuzah on a bagel? Because the bagel is not important if God lives there. I hope you're eating it and it's kosher, you're serving God with it. But it's not an earth-shaking question. Not a question of life and death. Where you live, if God doesn't live there, if your own above, your own heaven doesn't live there, it's not your house. It's not my house. But you hear, friends, when I have a light who has no lessons, but then someone comes and makes the most beautiful lessons for you. God, is that special? But in the end it says, you know what kind of garments Mordechai had? Mordechai had the garments for the most infinite life. And here I want you to open your heart. In paradise we had no garments. Because not only we didn't have garments physically, spiritually. The light was shining into us. If you ate the tree of knowledge, this is the garment business. Everything has a name. Is it good? Is it bad? As long as it's right. Go out, get yourself a little garment on. I want you to do something very deep. Was it really God's intention you should live without garments? It doesn't make sense. You mean we are only having garments because they ate the tree of knowledge? But you'd open your hearts to the deepest. Remember Adam and Eve were created on Friday. Basically, God wanted to give us garments for Shabbos. So the first thing we were supposed to put on garments was before Shabbos. Then we would have had those unbelievable heavenly garments. If you remember in the Holy Temple, the priests had to have garments, special garments. Because the garments of Aaron and Cohen were the garments which God wanted to give us if we would have not eaten from the tree of knowledge. Have you ever noticed when a bride puts on a garment for the wedding, even the lowest person understands, unless you're really low. This is not the question of a fashion show. You know what this is? The first Chava didn't know what to do because the Chava were wearing garments not from paradise. So each time a woman is getting married, she's hoping maybe God will give me this time. garments from paradise. Very special. But you know, I have seen really, Basel and Moshav have seen holy brides. You look at them, their wedding gown is not from hell, not from a magazine. You can almost see. Well, you know which holiest bride I've seen? Without mentioning names. I don't want to mention right now names. This is a girl. It's a long, long story. Anyway, she was absolutely, from Yiddishkeit, didn't know anything. She didn't know anything. And one of her chevra saw her on the street, invited her to a learning. And then she fell in love with one of her chevra. She got married. Have you ever seen a bride sitting on the chair, smiling around, and her mother stood next to her, fixing her garments, her dress, and every 5 minutes she looks in the mirror, and her hair, and her nose. Unbelievable, right? I want you to know this girl walked in. Do you know that this girl had her eyes closed? From before the bedeck until after the chum. Her eyes were closed. It was awesome to stand next to her. It was awesome just to be in her presence. She was mamish building a holy temple. Simple as it is. So you hear, friends, Purim is the utmost fixing of the garments of the tree of knowledge. Good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. I want you to know something. This is the deepest Torah in the world, I'm sure you know it. You think only we Jews are hungry for the tree of life. The whole world is hungry. The whole world is so hungry. Because God intended mankind to eat from the tree of life. So at the end of Purim, it says, the Mordechai walked out finally with the garments of paradise. The Rabbi always was there, when a lot of non-Jews came and became Jews. Because when they saw the garments, God, this awesome. I want to have a taste of this kind of garment. Those garments are different garments. You know, sometimes you walk up to a person and say, oh, you are really beautiful. But the way you say it is on the level of tree of knowledge. You would have been ugly and you're beautiful. Or, I mean to say, you're not as beautiful as Elizabeth Taylor, but there's somebody else around. You're beautiful. This tree of knowledge compliments. I tell you, have you ever seen? Sometimes you walk up to two real beautiful young ladies and say, oh, you look so beautiful. And she's saying, are you telling this to every girl? All this tree of knowledge, stupid stuff. And make a compliment, take it or leave it, right? Have you ever seen when you make a compliment to a little kid? You have no problem taking it. Because it's not tree of knowledge. And they know I'm not comparing them, I'm not telling them. I was just in Portland, Maine, there was so many cute kids came to my concert. A brother and a sister, I mean cute. I mean cute is not the word, right? They said to the boy, do you know that you are absolutely the cutest little brother in the world? He says, yes, I know it all the time. No problem, right? He didn't say, how did you find out if you told somebody else? How do you know? I told you. I want you to know this is the deepest. Reb Nachman says, when you make a compliment to somebody, Elijah the prophet comes right with you. Why is Elijah the prophet the one? You're making silence. Why was Elijah the prophet chosen to be the one to let us know the Messiah is coming? Because Elijah the prophet never gave bad news to anybody. Never. Never did anything bad to anybody. So Reb Nachman says, when you say a good word to somebody, Elijah the prophet walks right with you. So he says, if you have choice between walking with Elijah the prophet or driving away, don't you know what to do? You know what the most heartbreaking thing is? But sometimes kids go to school and the teachers mostly are not Elijah the prophet. In most schools, Elijah the prophet has never been there. So the kids coming home, they're waiting for their parents to tell them something good. What's the first thing one says? Wash your face. Your hands are dirty. Your shirt is dirty. Why are you late? Did you brush your teeth this morning? What's going on there? The kids walk in, Elijah probably walks with them. So why did you say something good? Why did you say something good? You know, husband and wife, sometimes never a husband comes home all day long in hell. Is the tree of knowledge, measuring money, measuring power, comes home to his wife. The first thing she says, why are you late for dinner? They. I'm talking already about the good wife, right? When you say something good, right? Or imagine a husband comes home and his wife is waiting for him, and the first thing he says, why dinner isn't ready? Idiot! This is your whole connection to your wife. Little schnitzel. That's all it takes to keep your marriage going. So you hear, friends, on Purim Mamish we have to promise each other. And you know what Shlachmanis is the deepest terms. You know when we say bad things about each other? Not face to face, but you're face to face and you're not you something you can't stand it. But wait till you walk around, walk out, just sheer. You see how long her nose is, right? You could take an express train and go on it for a long time. You know what it is? When I said Shlachmanis to you, not face to face, I think you know. I never say anything bad about you, even though you're not there. And I want you to know, if I never say anything bad about you, you're not there. Then when you are there, then my compliment is in the tree of life. And it's Elijah the prophet. You know, friends, children need so much encouragement. I give up with encouragement. You know, parents think they're doing a lot for their kids. They give them chicken soup and money for a trip to Acapulco. Did I tell you, did I have the privilege of enlightening you, what is called desecrating the Shabbos by a assimilated Jew? Very simple. An assimilated Jew is somebody who has two television sets, one for Shabbos and one for the weekday, right? And if by any chance on Shabbos by mistake you watch television from the weekday television, that's called desecration of the Shabbos. I just approved my life. Reb Nachman says that our biggest enemies are the people who are close to us, because they take away every ounce of strength. take away our last ounce of courage. You know why Esau was Yaakov's brother? Because Amalek, who's Esau, you have to be a brother. From afar, it doesn't matter, right? Stranger comes and says, you're a creep. You don't love. Someone whom I love says to me, you're disgusting. Go out to the church. You know when you want to step on somebody's toes, you have to stand next to them, right? I cannot step on the toe of an Eskimo when he's in Alaska, right? Next to me. Step on their toes. I would say just one more thing. I don't know of Shlomo and Julie and all of us. I think it's already on the phone. The way we parents look at our children, it's a lot of love, right? But a little bit restrained. Because I don't want my children to know that I love them so much. It's too much. You know when I look at them, absolutely infinite, but they're asleep. I want you to know on Purim, you know what God's name is mentioned. Is God looking at us when we are asleep. Because the Gemara said in the time of Haman, spiritually we were asleep. And you know I'm sending you Shlachmonas, not with eyes, the way I look at you when you're around. The way I look at you when you don't see me looking at you. I want you to do something awesome. When I stand by the holy wall and I look at the holy wall, it's very holy. You know what the deepest looking is? Then I'm in New York. I close my eyes and look at the holy wall. Oh, that's the deepest. That is the deepest. But you know what they do? Pesach. You know what I bless you? I mean, we should look at our children at the holy wall like we were from afar. When I'm far from there, Master of the world, and we have the privilege of looking with so much love at Yerushalayim. And I'm there, like when I wasn't there. About Torah, you know. When Yaakov saw Yosef after 22 years, you know how much Yaakov loved Yosef? He was away in Egypt for 22 years. It says Yaakov was reading Krishma. Everybody says, now you're reading Israel for 22 years. Now you have to say Krishma. Say it before, after, right? You want Shema Yisrael? Mamash, I'm giving my life to God. Infinite. You know what Yaakov says to Yosef? I want you to know I didn't know that I love children as much as I love God. I learned it from you. You know when I learned it from you? When I missed you for 22 years. I didn't know. I didn't know it so deep. You know, friends, Purim is depth. Unless you're very deep, I mentioned before, President Mishul said, you know, Purim is homatoshna and a lot of fun. Friends, it bless you with emerson, laughter of Purim. Laughter of Purim. Laughter is when it's infinite. I have joy when someone is finite. I don't mean laughter like a dirty joke, I mean laughter. Inside laughter, deepest laughter in the world. listen to me, I love this girl very much. And I said to her, can you please meet me in Buenos Aires next Thursday? Unbelievable, I'm going to Buenos Aires. And there's, what's the name of the Jewish street there in Buenos Aires? Coloseva or something. So on the evening, I meet her on the corner. My heart is filled with joy, right? I'm going to Buenos Aires. I'm very lonely. I don't know anybody. Suddenly this girl, I meet her on the corner. It's that joy. It's laughter. I can't believe it. Because it's infinite. It is infinite. I can't believe it, right? All year long I'm happy with my wife, I'm happy with my children, I'm happy to be a Jew. And Purim is laughter. Can't believe it. I cannot believe that I have the privilege to be a Jew. I cannot believe that I have the privilege that is my wife, my husband, my children. I cannot believe. You see, if I'm only happy with the Torah, I can make a golden calf after. The Gemara says the way we receive the Torah on Purim is deeper than anything. Anyway, friends, I bless you and me and all of us. It's the emissary Purim, it's the real Purim, the deepest Purim in the world. And good Shabbos, good Yom, and sing one more good song. Forgive me for making it a little bit infinite.
Did you got some laugh?
I want you to know, the truth is, you didn't even start yet learning what poem is. Scratch the outside. What?
We have some more.
You scratch the outside. I have to tell you this one thing. I don't know if I shared it with you. Who was the first person to give Shlachmanos? And I have a way out idea. When was the wedding of Yaakov and Leah? I want to say Gewalt Torah was on Purim. Because Rochel gave Yaakov Shlachmanos to Leah. And it was not face to face, right? If you remember that Yaakov made the secret sign with Rachel, because he knew her father would put on Leah under the chuppah. And the second before the wedding, Rochel gave over the side to Leah. You know why I think it was Purim? Because Yaakov, remember Yaakov's whole thing is fighting Esther. And Yosef is the one who's conquering Esau, right?